What's up YouTube? Mike here from Techno GI, and today I wanted to do a quick phone review. And this is no ordinary phone. This is what I would call a extremely budget-minded phone. This is the Nokia Lumia 635, and this phone is essentially, it could be a burn phone, but it's a great phone for the price. I mean, this thing is you can get it for $50 depending on what your carrier is. So this thing is dirt cheap, and it's a full-fledged smartphone. Basically, it's got specs from about 3 years ago, but 3 years ago you would have paid about 500 bucks for the same specs. So this is a great entry-level smartphone. Also, this is a good phone if you're just curious to try Windows, because like I said, you're not paying for a flagship device. You're not getting knocked down by contracts, things of that nature. So totally worth it. But as you can see, it's running Windows 8.1, or actually I think it's 8.2 now. But it's the latest version of Windows you can get on the phone. It's got a very smooth interface. I'm kind of a fan of it because, as I've been using the Microsoft Surface 3, of course, this kind of mirrors that interface almost, where you got the Metro view with the tiles. And the cool thing about the tiles is essentially, they're widgets. So it gives you kind of a live tile view, so it's essentially widgets. And this is very snappy, very quick for what it is. So let me go over the hardware real quick. This is essentially just plastic, nothing fancy. The cool thing is though, the back comes off pretty easy. So if you don't like this color, you can order more. There's plenty online. Another good thing about this is it's got expandable memory. So you can pop a micro SD card in here. So if storage is an issue, you can simply expand it with a micro SD. This does have a rear-facing camera. However, it does not have a front-facing camera. So if you're a selfie junkie, then this phone is definitely not for you. But the rear-facing camera is actually, it's only 5 megapixels, and it also records at 720p. But it's a pretty darn good camera. And as I'm talking about the camera, I'm going to throw a video sample that I took with this and a couple pictures that I took. So outside, this does actually a pretty decent job taking the pictures. However, for low light shots, there's no flash, so don't plan on using this in low light situations. So like I said, for $50 though, obviously you wouldn't expect to have a great camera, but it's actually not too bad. So as you'll see from the picture that I put up there. But other big thing on the hardware is it's about a 4.5-inch screen. So it's 40 by 854 pixels, but just for a size reference, here's a iPhone 5C. So as you can see, the Lumia is pretty similar. This iPhone's actually got a case, so the Lumia is actually just a tad bigger than the iPhone screen, as you can see, but a little bit bigger, but really kind of similar class. But what else? Let's see. It's only got 1 gig of RAM, Snapdragon 400 processor. But the good thing is, with the way Windows is optimized, it's extremely snappy. The 1 gig of RAM really is no limitation. I'm not a big gamer, but if you like to play a lot of phone games, and you may or may not see a bog on this. Personally, I just don't like playing games on such a small screen, but it'll run lighter weight games with no issue. I saw a video, I haven't tried it on there, but they were playing a Halo Spartan Assault on this, and it ran it just fine. So you can play some games, so no issue there. As far as the battery goes, it's got a 1830 milliamp battery. That doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not necessarily a big battery, but actually I consider myself kind of a heavy to moderate smartphone user, and I get through the day with this with no issues whatsoever. So battery is actually pretty darn good for such a small phone, and for what you're getting. Again, this phone you can get it as cheap as $50 depending on your carrier. So, and that's off contract. So really, if you're looking for a budget phone, you can't go wrong with this, especially for the price. So I personally bought it because I was just curious about Windows. I've really never used it on a Windows phone. I tried it a couple years ago on the earlier version, but this is kind of really my first experiment with Windows Phone. And the reason I got it is because I'm curious about Windows 10 when it does come to phones, and I wanted to play with it. So before I drop, 700 bucks for a flagship Lumia, I kind of wanted to try the cheap model just to see how I liked it. And so far, I got to say, I actually like it quite a bit. I'm really satisfied with this, the operating system. It's very smooth, very snappy. And as far as app selection, there's a lot of apps that you can get with this that you can't just get in the Windows Store when it comes to, like on my Surface 3, there's apps that are on this that are not available for the Surface, so for tablets. So for the phones, there's a wider selection. Honestly, for me personally, it may be different for you. I've yet to find, or not be able to find an app that I use on the phone. So for me personally, it's got all the apps I need. And again, with Windows 10, who knows, hopefully they'll explode and we'll see a lot more apps. But as far as getting back to hardware, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's running the Windows, the latest version, so I think it's 8.2 now. As far as the LCD, like I said, it's nothing fancy. It's a 221 ppi, but it's pretty darn good. It's got a Gorilla Glass 3, a clear black display, but it's only an LCD, but it's actually pretty vibrant. Right now I got it on high. I don't know how it focuses, but it's actually a very sharp display. Off viewing angles, you can see, are really good. Outside, this is actually really easy to read. It doesn't bleach out with the sun. So like I said, no issues or complaints with this phone whatsoever. I'm actually quite a fan of it. So with that, like I said, if you got kids or you're just in the market for a cheap smartphone off contract, I highly recommend this. Like I said, this is the Nokia Lumia 635. You can get this at Walmart, Best Buy, off contract for 50 bucks. So with that, as always, thanks for watching. If you've not done so, please go ahead and subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions on this phone or you want to see something demoed on it, just shoot me a comment below. Thanks again.